18 and under Super 64 championship game is just about to begin. Home team on the field in the white uniforms. The Firecrackers under the direction of Tony Rico out of California. And they are taking on Sudden Impact Gold Dutton from Texas. The final two teams standing in the Super 64 bracket. Thad Anderson with Fireworks Tournament Director and Triple Crown Fast Pitch Director Elliot Finkelstein. We're going to have a whole merry band of characters on the webcast today. Elliot and Allison Morgenstern from Triple Crown. Also, we're going to get a representative from each team, one of the coaches or managers from each team during the course of the game to come and jump on and give us a little more insight. So that's how it's going to look. We are ready for the first pitch. Courtney Shaw in the circle pitching for Firecrackers to start this Super 64 championship. And the leadoff batter for the Sudden Impact is Aubrey Leach, playing second base defensively. Leach, left-handed batter, starts the game in the box, top of the first of the Super 64 championship. Pitch one swung on, fouled back. We're underway. Thanks for being with us on WatchTCS.com. Triple Crown Sports presents this webcast in conjunction with the technical support of Goalmaster 28. Check them out at GM28.com. Thad Anderson and Elliot Finkelstein. Elliot, it's been a long week, and it's got to be fun to see these two teams left standing here.
Well, you know, it's almost a tournament of attrition, Thad, as, you know, it's the last two standing. Amazing they have anything left to give, but I imagine knowing these girls, we'll have an excellent game.
What's the total for these two teams, approximately? What's the total game count since they started, back on Tuesday playing ball?
They probably played a dozen games, you know, in the hot and dry out, you know, climate they're not used to. Here they are.
1-1 count to the first batter in the top of the first. Slap softly, well done, not a chance. Safe by a couple of steps. On base, Aubrey Leach starts it off right for Sudden Impact Gold. Infield single on the slap, and it's Kendall Murray, right fielder. Kendall Murray bats second. Another lefty coming in. Yeah, long week of attrition. High temperatures going on. You know, tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday is supposed to be about 70, 75 degrees in Colorado. A little break from the heat right after these teams take off.
And that figures, because I'll probably try to sleep all three of those days. I won't see that weather.
All right, well, I'll get you warm milk and your slippers. Good job this week to you and all your Triple Crown Fast Pitch crew. Strike on a run through by Kendall Murray. Kendall Murray batting second. There you see Kendall. Amber Surrett due up next in the on-deck circle. Surrett batting third, and Brittany Nollcamper, the cleanup batter. We'll likely see the plate unless we see a double play in this inning. That pitch just missed our plate umpire today, Brandon Bloom. At first base, Brian Crochet. And the third base umpire, Matt Jacks, three-umpire crew to cap off this Super 64 throwdown in Colorado. 3 games going on in this B pod. There are 12 fields at Aurora Sports Park, 3 pods of 4. The A pod, the C pod all shut down now, and the B pod is where everybody coagulated for championship games. And Elliot, what do you have going on around us here?
Well, we've got the 16 and under open bracket behind us and the 18 and under open bracket across the way over here. And, you know, it's a great atmosphere to bring the 3 championship games to the one pod and let everybody enjoy that.
That 16's open championship. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. That is bunted straight back to the pitcher. No time to get to second, and out. Bang, bang play. Good wheels down the line, Kendall Murray. She is a sack bunt on a 1-4 put out and move Aubrey Leach along to second base. That brings Amber Surrett to the plate, the shortstop. There is Leach out at second base, adjusting the white helmet, the yellow tops, blue pants. Sudden Impact visitors in this Super 64 championship. Sudden Impact out of 3 fields here. They're on 2 of them. They've got their 16s in the 16 Open Championship of the Fireworks. So a pretty impressive run for Sudden Impact. They only have 1 team at each of these age levels. 1 18s, 1 16s, and they both made it into final games on Sunday.
Yeah, one of the perennial strong programs out of the Houston area. Those guys do a great job recruiting great talent, good coaching, and as you can see from the product they put on the field, you know, very well disciplined, a lot of speed, fun to watch.
And here they are with a runner on second base in this 18 and under Super 64 championship. That's Aubrey Leach in your screen at second. Here's the pitch from Courtney Shaw on an 0-1 count to Amber Surrett. Surrett has had power today. Has hit a couple of home runs in the earlier games. Here she's going to ground out, and the runner cannot move along. 6-3 on the putout, 2 away. The shortstop for the Firecrackers, Nicole Bates, makes the play across to Kelly Martinez playing first base, 2 away, runner on 2, and the cleanup batter, Brittany Knoll-Camper, playing third base defensively. She's got a chance to cash in the first run of this championship, but that'll have to be a 2-out RBI. So a clutch situation for Knoll-Camper. Shelby McGlawn is on deck if Knoll-Camper keeps the inning alive. Pitch is in on the belt for ball 1.
I think Thad Brittany's going to be a raging Cajun.
Yeah, the college commitments among these two teams. It's going to be what you're going to be seeing in the future of fast pitches right here today on your screen. Louisiana Lafayette for the current batter, Brittany Knoll-Camper, a 2015 grad, so congratulations on the recent high school graduation. And I'm sure not too long after this championship game, she'll be making her way toward Lafayette to get started on the college career.
I think we'll see most of these teams in a couple weeks up in Reno in our final championships.
And we will televise the 16 and 18-year-old championships on CBS Sports Network. CBS Sports Network on Friday, July 17th. It'll be 3 o'clock Pacific for the 16s. There's a base hit through the right side, bobbled in right field. That's going to allow just enough time for a head-first slide in the first run of the championship game. Leach scoring on the single by Brittany Knoll-Camper. Sudden impact up 1-0. Fundamental piece of hitting right there, Elliot.
Well, that's the speed of the game, Thad. If you don't pick it up clean in the outfield, give them that extra base and cost you a run.
Yeah, without the bobble, that, if you try to send that runner, that's out by a couple steps, but that little bobble just enough, and that's a great piece of hitting. The cleanup batter, not trying to go all Colorado altitude style, just knocking it through the right side. 2 bags for her teammate from second to home. Leach is now safely in the dugout with the first run up, and Shelby McGlawn takes strike 1 to start her at bat.
And the girls love hitting up here, Thad. We get a lot of Colorado home runs this week. It's almost like a bomb fest out here.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing.
No, people love their offense.
And the 4th of July, I was watching the streaming presentation last night. Ball popped toward left, going to be foul, but going to be catchable out in left field. That's Alyssa Barrera running it down. 1 run surrendered by the Firecrackers in the top of the first with Leach singling and coming around to score after being bunted up. And then a 2-out RBI for Brittany Knoll-Camper. Sudden impact 1, Firecrackers 0 with their first chance to bat coming up next. So talking about those bombs and the explosive display, I was watching last night. They watch TCS.com single camera streams of all the games, which is a great feature of your tournament. Chance to just at least keep an eye if you're a parent or a fan or a friend. And you can see a lot of fireworks in the background of the shot, so you'd be looking at the hitter hitting and looking out from behind them. And there were lighted skies and colors everywhere behind the ball field.
It's an awesome venue, to sit out here on the, especially last night. It was the 4th of July, and we had a great military presence out here. There's an Air Force base right down the street, and we let anybody in uniform in, of course, come watch the games with no gate charge. And had a great contingent out here, and we send our thanks out to our uniformed servicemen for the things they do and keep our freedom intact so we can come out here and do this.
It's been a fun week, and we're capping it off today with the Super 64 Championship in the 18-year-old bracket. Get Mariah for me. Not now, but we need to run those billboards. So we have a promo. Instead of the promo after this half, I'll do the billboards after this half inning. Okay, thanks. Sudden Impact Gold ready to play their first half inning of defense now after scoring in the top of the first.
I've had a chance to watch the Firecrackers play a little bit this week, Thad, and they put on quite an offensive show. I wouldn't be surprised to see some additional July 5th fireworks here.
July 5th, carrying on, extending the holiday. Alyssa Barrera, first chance to do that with the bat, left side of the plate. Barrera takes a strike. Barrera caught that last out of the top of the first in left field. Now she bats.
I think Barrera headed to Utah, if I'm not mistaken, Thad.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of players who are headed to Utah. I had a chance to do a couple of series on Pac-12 Network and spend a little time with Amy Hogue. What a great thing is going in Salt Lake in the Pac-12. Utah, a lot of the players they had this year had been recruited to play in the Mountain West, and they made that jump to the Pac-12. It was a big change of competition, a big change of scenery. Great new stadium in Salt Lake. Amy Hogue, 2-time now Coach of the Year in the Pac-12, and just a phenomenal feeling around the program. Good place to be going, and that is where Alyssa Barrera, our current batter, will head. She's going to head to first base on a solid single through the left side. So each leadoff batter comes through with a single to set the table. It was Leach in the top of the first, and now Barrera in the bottom of one.
And as we know, Thad, leadoff hitter is usually pretty dangerous for a defense.
Now you got speed out there. You got a good bat, more speed with Nicole Bates batting, the shortstop ready to step in. There is Barrera freshly on board at first base. Jim Trott, the first base coach, saw him leaning in over the shoulder. This ball chopped and in position for a double play ball, but that was well hit, hard hit, tough backhand play. It was going to be, I don't know about an easy double play, but it was definitely hit to the right slot, but instead everybody's safe, 2 aboard, nobody out.
So we've got a good Western presence out there. We've got a Utah signee on second and a Washington signee on first.
Yep.
So the Pac-12 well represented already out there on base.
And it's hard to argue that the SEC has not made the move to the top of the heap, but you see players like this in the Pac-12 getting them. They're still getting those recruits, and I think the Pac-12 is about ready to start making an answer. They realize the facility battle is what it is. They're going to have to upgrade there. We know Oregon's doing that, building a new stadium, and Utah just put a nice NCAA regional caliber stadium together. So now we're seeing some players who are going to populate some of those Pac-12.
Well, it's good for the game that there's conference competition.
So you're the this ball popped to mid-center. Going to fake a tag at second base. No runner coming. Throw was way off line, but that was too shallow to tag on. Fly out, that was Christina Inouye to center field. 1 out, the catch made by Cheyenne Kavanaugh. 1 down, and Kelly Martinez, cleanup batter for the Firecrackers. 1 out, 2 on. So I didn't tell you, along with joining me here on the webcast, that you're also the official scorer. So that ground ball to second, what are you scoring that one?
I'm scoring that E4.
All right. I was just going to, I wanted to defer to the tournament director. This ball, another chance, and this time fielded out at second. And now the throw away is going to bring that run in. Score tied. The pickup made by Aubrey Leach at second. Tough play with the glove, but she launched the throw, and the error cashes in the run. Martinez on at first, and Barrera home. We're tied 1-1.
Half a great play, Thad.
That's usually not quite enough.
And I think we got another Utah signee right there as well.
I hope Amy Hogue is watching, the head coach from Utah. She's got to be happy. Looking forward to some new arrivals soon. This ball right on the right field foul line is handled by Kendall Murray. Each team gets their leadoff batter on and gets that leadoff batter around after 1 inning. We're tied at 1-1. This is the 18 and under Super 64 championship from the Triple Crown Fireworks and Sparkler in Colorado. This presentation of the Super 64 championship game on WatchTCS.com is presented by Softball Magazine and also brought to you by GH Pin Company and presented by Triple Crown Sports. Our thanks to Softball Magazine, GH Pins, for supporting this Triple Crown Sports championship game. Triple Crown Fast Pitch in the biggest of the big shows of fast pitch softball. Over 800 teams in Colorado, spread from the Denver metro area up to northern Colorado, playing on 130-ish ball fields. Elliot, give us a little more, the top line, mind-blowing facts about this thing.
Well, there's a few, Thad, but the ones that probably pop out the most, aside from about 12,000 softball players competing to be seen and play at top level and have the college coaches pay attention to them. We've got another 25,000 fans filling hotels and restaurants. I ran into somebody last night, said they couldn't get a meal out because every restaurant in town was jammed full of uniforms.
We're going to take a look at the leadoff batter, Lexi Huffman. Lexi plays first base defensively and starts off the top of 2 for the visiting team in this championship game. Sudden impact. Second inning of work for Courtney Shaw. Courtney Shaw in the circle. Delivers just inside for ball one. Catcher for the Firecrackers, Mary Iacopo behind the plate. Lexi Huffman wearing the 24 jersey for the sudden impact. Batting in the number 6 spot. Hits it hard down first off the foot of Kelly Martinez, who retreats. That is a 3-1-3 scored put out. Hit it hard, got under the glove of Martinez. She's limping a little bit. Hit her right. Looks like she's limping the right foot. We heard shoe all the way over here. That was solid, but deflected right back to Courtney Shaw in the circle.
I'm pretty sure we haven't seen a lot of 3-1-3s here lately.
That was creative. 3-1-3 and an out. Cheyenne Kavanaugh, now the number 7 batter, plays center field, does Kavanaugh. And bats in a tie game. An excuse me slap, glove flip. Nice play by the pitcher Courtney Shaw. Picked it up with leather and never used epidermis. Went all leather on that out. So we went 3-1-3, and now we go 1-3. What do you think here? 3 unassisted for the third out, if we're following some kind of pattern? Or 3-1?
We'll try to dial that one in, see if we can make that work like a Sudoku puzzle.
There you go. It's a little mind bender, little mind game. That brings the sudden impact Haley Davis to the plate. Haley of Houston, Texas.
Headed to Texas State for her to start her college career.
Texas State, I was just looking yesterday, that's the among the coaching staff, assistant coach Kat Osterman with Texas State.
We tend to see Kat out doing a little recruiting from time to time at some of the bigger events. Of course, she always draws a crowd.
Yeah, as she should. Texas legend. Pitched for the Longhorns, 3-time Player of the Year in college softball. 3-time World Series appearance. See people like Kat Osterman, see these people at big events. And the other night on Wednesday, we did television at Christopher Fields in Westminster, sitting there doing the game with Amanda Scarborough, and in walks Jessica Mendoza just to say hi. We got Amanda Freed down on the dugouts and bleachers. Every time you turn around, saw Beth Torina, the LSU coach, walking by. I mean, you got them all here, Elliot. That's commendable. There's a pop-up to end the top of the second. Davis pops it up to second base into the glove of Christina Inouye. And a 3-up, 3-down inning, a couple of ground outs. One of those very unconventional on a deflection off of the first baseman's foot that then was played by the pitcher back to first base. And that more traditional pop-up is how the top of 2 ends. So we're through 1.5, 1-1. Firecrackers will bat. Firecrackers played in this game last year, did not manage to pick up the win in this game last year, getting taken out by Texas Glory on the Super 64 championship. It was a 3-1 final score. Firecrackers back to try to do it one better this year.
And last year was the first year in the last 6 the Firecrackers didn't win the tournament. So if you're going to win this tournament, looks like you're going to have to go through the Firecrackers.
Yep. They're trying to start a new streak this year after a 1-year gap. They beat the Texas Glory on Wednesday night in our televised game. You're talking about fireworks and explosive bats. 14-9 was the final score. And actually the Firecrackers a couple nights ago on that TV game, they were down 8-2 at one point and then blew up and won it 14-9. So the bats have been effective here in Colorado.
Yeah, you talk about a who's who of softball, legends around here. Sue Inquist and Coach Hutchins from Michigan and Jackie Joseph from Michigan State. Lisa Fernandez was out here watching kids yesterday. I mean, it's almost like a mobile Hall of Fame out here.
Hey, use hashtag IPlayTCS. Every year, Sparkler and Fireworks have trending power. You can get in the game. Use hashtag IPlayTCS. That's how you can connect yourself to the big event. I've also seen the hashtag CO Sparkfire. I think I started that. I started using that term about 4 or 5 years ago, calling the combination of these events Sparkfire. I kind of like that. It's playful, but the respectful thing to say is Colorado Fireworks Tournament, right? And
Right.
Sparkler, the Sparkler has become. So the fireworks side of this historically had, about 160, 180 of the top teams. Sparkler, as it grew into, 600 range. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's about right, that. And, we've tried to sort of sew the two together, but also keep their individual brands, to themselves. So, people have that sort of history of the fireworks being 46 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be reserved for only the top teams, but there's so many top teams now, they overflow into everything.
Yeah, not enough. 180 is not enough spaces. I mean, that used to be enough for the top teams, right? But now you got, across these different age groups, you've got all kinds of top teams that can all compete with each other.
Yeah, and I mean, you had 500 or 600 pretty good clubs out here, just at this age group.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's getting real popular at the younger age groups. We had 250 12 and 14-year-old teams in Colorado this week.
Bree Tau-Talafua did not offer at that pitch, so in the box, the number 6 batter, Bree Tau-Talafua. She is the DP in the order. A little dust blowing around at the ballpark today. I had to mute the microphone for a quick sneeze.
And Bree going to stay close to home, it looks like, for her college career, committed to UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA. She's got that right knee brace. Last May, a little over a year ago, had an ACL. She's working back from that. She'll take a walk down to first base, runner aboard. So Tau-Talafua takes first, and Aaliyah Flores bats. UCLA, you mentioned that. Wow. The opportunities, the futures, the present is very cool for these players, and the futures are fantastic too.
Well, and the key ingredient is, the opportunity to get an education, which I think is what most of these top clubs and coaches are really working for to these girls is, to help them with that. I mean, softball's great, but being educated is probably greater.
Yeah, pays off. The memories of this will be great. The development and the preparation of the bigger other part of what you're going to school for will pay off forever. Aaliyah Flores, right fielder, batting number 7 in the order. Behind the walk to Tau-Talafua.
Yeah. Aaliyah headed to Patty Gasso in Oklahoma. So it's a regular who's who of the next great college players right in front of us. That.
Yeah, I like that you keep just checking in with that every time. It's not like, I've never heard you once come in with, ITT or DeVry, which credit to them if that's where you go, if that's what you're doing. But everything you're mentioning is Women's College World Series caliber stuff.
Well, that's the level of these teams.
Bunt foul, and Tau-Talafua, who is being run for. She had a runner come on. It's Riley Wester over at first base. So the walk to Tau-Talafua gives Wester a chance to run at 1. She's back to first after the foul bunt. 0-2 count.
And, of course, we'll throw in Riley headed to Notre Dame.
Yep, the third of the 3 Wester sisters to head toward Notre Dame.
Yep.
The whole family in South Bend. Once Riley makes her way there. Sister Allie on her way there. Carly. Finished up sophomore year
I think ITT does have an internet softball team.
Internet softball?
Yeah, they play on the internet.
All right. I'm going to have to check that out. Maybe when you're between naps tomorrow, maybe you can pull it up and give us a little more background. Upstairs, and a swing and a miss. Good pitch by Shelby McGlawn. McGlawn in the circle, and Haley Davis, who puts away strike 3 behind the plate. That is the first strikeout of the game by either side. Important to get the K after the walk. If you have to walk somebody, if you can. That's looked like they might have had her on the back door. Second base coming in behind. And Aubrey Leach, that was bang bang. Great throw from behind the dish.
I'd like to see the replay on that one.
Davis from catcher. What a throw. Put it right on the tag spot. Good handwork by Leach, but the call is safe back in by Wester. Now Wester going. Got her on the high tag, able to reach down, get it on the upper part of the body before the foot reached the bag. Steal throw out by Davis. So after the rocket snap throw to first, she rockets to second. She's going to get it out somewhere, and she got it at 2.
Well, the girl's got a cannon on her back there. Coach doesn't look real happy with that steal. I'm guessing that wasn't the sign.
Well, sometimes after you almost get snapped off, picked off from behind, you kind of want to answer right back to the catcher. It did not work. Davis up to the challenge. Now a lazy fly ball to right field off the bat of Mary Iacopa, and what started with a leadoff walk quickly de-escalates into nothing. 3 batters come to the plate. And the score stays 1-1 through 2 innings in Aurora, Colorado. If you love softball, you want Softball Magazine featuring hard-hitting editorials, tips, and columns from the sport's top players and coaches, new product features along with player and team spotlights. Softball Magazine, America's source for softball news. Softballmag.com is the web address. Softballmag, M-A-G.com. Check out Softball Magazine. Thanks to Softball Magazine for partnering with Triple Crown Fast Pitch to help cover, uncover, discover, and recover Triple Crown Fast Pitch events. There was a question, Andy Hansen, Media Relations Director for Triple Crown Sports, said he had gotten the question a few times during the television games the other night about why the ball behind home plate was white. And is that just a lack of spray paint?
Might have run out of spray paint, or we're so busy this time of year we might have had to borrow baseball's banner.
And that's exactly. I'll fess up. Those originally ordered for a baseball event. We just had a bunch of white balls, and they all look like balls with seams, but the color is wrong.
Well, I'm surprised we can't graphic that
there
in.
Should be a Photoshop
should be
kind of an
some way to
option
do that
for
on the internet.
Yep. Or you had enough Gatorade around here, you just go pour a bunch of lemon lime or whatever I'm drinking right here.
Well, we definitely have enough Gatorade.
Bouncer to third,
Nice
thrown in the dirt. Nice pick, and limping a little bit off of the pick over there at first base is Kelly Martinez. Makes a nice play. I don't think she's limping enough to look like she's got to discontinue, but I wonder if that hard shot batted ball off her foot last inning is still ringing a little bit. I know you said your dogs are barking. You've been on your feet all week.
Well,
Kelly,
it's a long 8 days standing on the concrete out here, and even the best shoes, break down eventually.
Back to the top of the order, that was Maddie Emsweiler who led off with the ground ball. And the play for Firecrackers at third base, Anna Kufta made a clean play, playing in against speed threats. Aubrey Leach singled her first time up.
I know Aubrey's dad, and Aubrey's headed off to Tennessee.
So there's the SEC getting represented.
Go play for Ralph and Karen Weekly.
Rainey Gaffin wound up over there, right?
Local
Rainey
kid.
Out of Colorado.
Right, little local
Played in this
connection.
event for all of her years growing up.
Right. One of the best players to come out of Colorado.
If you... I wouldn't mind being Rainey Gaffin when I grow up. That's an athletic, strong kid. Impressive.
Great hitter, great pitcher, great first baseman, great teammate. Of course, her mom's a 7-time state softball championship here at Legacy High School. I think it's 7. So pretty good lineage.
Aubrey Leach, 2-1 count. Takes that pitch out of the zone for a 3-1 count. Leach has been on once already in this game, batting again here in the top of the third. She represents that 1 run on the board for sudden impact. Sudden impact batting here with 1 down, top of the third. Glad you're with us on WatchTCS.com. That 3-2 count on the board. We're playing the Super 64 Championship. There you see Courtney Shaw with her first base defender, Kelly Martinez, heading back into position. Shaw in the circle. A little center field check-in by Alyssa Horeshko on your screen. Getting a good look in from deep. And she sees a ball fly over the plate. A walk. That is the first walk allowed by the Firecrackers. And it's Leach with 1 out. Not good, that leadoff batter with speed. And we saw Kendall Murphy sacrifice bunter last time. She is fast, too. It was a bang-bang play on the bunt. She got down the line quickly. A lot of speed at the top of the sudden impact order.
That'd be interesting to see what they do with 1 out, Thad.
And you've got Amber Surrett on deck. Surrett this morning in the quarterfinal game hit a grand slam. In the semifinal game, hit a 2-run home run. I guess if you're thinking that way, you don't bunt her up because you hit a home run, she's going to score from anywhere. So you probably take your best chance to get Murray on base any way she can do it.
Right. Try to avoid the double play.
Yeah, for sure. You want runners on in front of Amber Surratt, who's swinging a hot bat today.
It'll be hard to double up these two girls.
Going to go bunt, and that is fouled in the box off the lower portion of Kendall Murray. Kendall Murray, who's batting right now, she's a 2018 grad, just about to start her sophomore year of high school, playing a very high level of softball. Not committed to a college yet, but
one of the few.
Guarantee she's going to have some options. That's a young player out of Lake Jackson, Texas, Kendall Murray. Just finished her freshman year of high school, and she's here in this 18 and under championship game. She's batting in the 2 spot and playing right field for one of the top teams in the country, Sudden Impact out of Texas.
I suspect she's filtering through those college offers right now.
Heads up behind us. Ooh, I didn't see it, but I see a few Firecrackers fans looking back saying, ouch. Somebody must have
they just want the ball back.
They're not that worried about the health and wellness of whoever that was. Just need something to play with over here. There's a good look at Kendall Murray.
It's part of the culture of fast pitch, Thad. You always keep your hands very close to the top of your head.
Just going to evolve into that position. Ball bounces in, 2-2 count. Kendall Murray said her proudest moment, making a 100 on a biology test. She also, well, it's the internet, so we can say this. She told us she has a birthmark on her stomach that doesn't tan, and it's the shape of a fish head. So if the game gets boring, we could have her show us the fish head untanned birthmark.
The beauty of the internet.
For
that
sure.
Looks like a little trouble right there.
Ball's got gap and speed coming around.
We're going to score.
Aubrey Leach takes a turn but is held at third base. Double. Kendall Murray, sacrifice bunt her first time up. This time goes gap for 2 bases and moves Aubrey Leach to third. Amber Surratt will bat.
Good job getting that ball back in. That looked like that might have scored a run.
Third base coach is Glenn Bennett for Sudden Impact Gold Dutton. So Glenn Bennett coaching third. Todd Leach coaches first. And Coach Bennett at third base had the full steam coming around the bag, but then held his runner to give Amber Surratt a chance to hit with 2 aboard. Right time here. They've got their 3-4 batters due up with 1 out and 2 runners in scoring position. We already saw Brittany Noel-Camper, the cleanup batter, knock in a run with a single in the first inning. Snap behind at second, bounces in. Nobody can move up. Firecrackers trying to backdoor one on a snap to Inouye at second from the catcher, Iacopo.
Yeah, I think LSU's going to get this power hitter.
Yeah, we were just talking about Beth Tarina. Saw her roaming around Christopher Fields across town the other day with a very obvious process of her 3rd child going on.
Pretty obvious.
Coach about to add to the family.
You know, I saw a lot of that this year.
Yeah. Yeah, Amanda Freed was doing our dugout bleacher reporting on television Wednesday and Thursday, and she's about to, well, October's when they'll welcome their 2nd child. And yeah, a lot of manufacturing of human life going on around the park.
Even one of our staffers that normally does a lot of heavy lifting around here, we had to put her on gate duty because she's 6 months in. Must be something in the water.
I was going to say something in the air, but there's hardly any air in Colorado, so it can't be that.
And there's hardly any water on the West Coast.
It's something in the Gatorade is what you got. It's your fault. It's all this Gatorade you've been pushing around. Here comes an 0-2 pitch. Surratt thought about it, started the hands, holds back on the upstairs delivery from Courtney Shaw. 1-2 count. Again, dangerous hitter Amber Surratt. LSU bound for her college career, as Elliott said. Already a couple of home runs today in the first 2 games they played. So this is the 3rd game today for both of these teams, and it's the last game of this week-long extravaganza hubbed out of Aurora Sports Park. Surratt sends that high in foul ground, tagging. Throw will come to bobbled, and it's going to end up at third base. So they hold that runner at second, but tagging and scoring. 2nd time in the game, Aubrey Leach has touched home plate, and that accounts for both runs for Sudden Impact. 2-1, Sudden Impact on top on the sac fly from Amber Surratt. Tell Surratt's got a lot of power. Even that miss-hit fly ball to the left side, just off her, the swing just looks potent.
Yep, deep enough to score the run without much, pretty much no contest.
And the fundamental play came in to third base. Firecrackers didn't bite on the temptation to throw home on that. Even though it's a straight line throw, you're right down the line. It feels like you got a great shot. In fact, that ball was actually a little bit foul, where it even created a better slot for the throw because you're coming in off the shoulder of the runner.
I know some coaches might argue you let that ball drop foul, save the run.
Yeah.
Early enough in the ball game, I think Firecrackers feel like 2's not going to be the number.
Yeah, had to score one more to win it anyway, so they figured they'll score 2 more somewhere. Tony Rico, one of the finest experienced and exposed minds as far as strategy. This ball is grounded to shortstop. Firecrackers get the out. Nicole Cates makes the play at short. That ends the top of the third, but credit to Texas Sudden Impact Gold. They are coming at it against the Firecrackers, ranked number 3 in the U.S. club rankings, top-ranked team in this bracket. And the Sudden Impact making a nice run here, trying to cap off a championship. They're up 2-1. Ready to roll? I'm going to pass off to Coach. Let them know. Thanks, Elliot. Into the bottom of the third inning now with Sudden Impact playing defense, leading 2-1 fresh off of another run. And Aubrey Leach has pushed both of those runs in. It's been her foot touching home plate twice. Leach, the leadoff batter, a single in the first and scored. A walk in the third and came around and scored after a Kendall Murray double. And then the Amber Surratt sacrifice fly. And that's how the Sudden Impact took the 2-1 lead in this championship game. In the bottom of the third inning, Tim Dutton's going to join us with the Texas Sudden Impact Gold. That's a 7-inning game. Started off, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us and spending a half inning with us. Look forward to getting a little extra insight about your team here and your experience this week at the Fireworks. Here's a bunt chopped just in time, hustling down the line, but out at first base is Alyssa Horeshko, the center fielder. Bunts out and one down in the bottom of the third. And that takes us back around now to the top of the order. Alyssa Barrera, left fielder, singled and scored the only run for the Firecrackers in the bottom of one. Well, you're in the first base dugout today. What's the feeling in the dugout so far in this championship game?
The atmosphere is great. These girls have fought hard to get here. We've played in this tournament for quite a few years, and they're just extremely excited. We're very familiar with this team. We played Firecrackers Rico several times, and just glad to be here, and they're excited.
I didn't get a chance. We were doing a little media day with all the players after your semifinal win over the Miami Stingrays. Congratulations to the Stingrays and to TC Stars Gold, finishing in third place, losing in semis earlier today. I was talking to your players, having them give us some information. I did not get a chance to ask you guys, what is your highest? Is this your highest finish at Fireworks?
This is our highest finish.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're not done.
Absolutely.
I'm not capping off, but that's pretty awesome for the players in this team to get a feel, that sensation of pushing the program a little farther.
Absolutely. Our senior class has been stopped at fifth place 3 or 4 times in this tournament, so it was a goal coming in this year for that group that we pushed past that fifth place finish, and we're in this game, and so we decided, hey, why settle for second? Let's go for the whole thing.
It's a 2-1 count now to the top of the order. Alyssa Barrera, she sends that out of play foul. 2-2 count with 1 out to the top of the order. Barrera gathers a little dirt and steps back into the box. Last year, the 2014 Super 64, you took on the Oklahoma exclusive Gold in the round of 16 in the Super 64 and lost a 4-3 ball game.
Yep, lost
Diving
a real
stop, that's foul.
Real tough game there at the end, and the girls remembered that coming into this, so it's kind of been a rally cry for this week to make sure we don't let up and try to play solid every play.
Your team playing defense. Time was called out there somewhere. Now stepping back in, getting ready to go back to action on a 2-2 pitch. 1 out, here it comes. Fouling in both directions. Barrera to the left side, to the right side, now back to the left side, spoiling some pitches. How about what you're feeling on the now into the third inning of work here for Shelby McGlawn? How you feeling about the circle?
She's doing great. She's mixing it up, and she never seems to get tired. Shelby, she's solid. We're looking forward to watching her pitch rest of this tournament, I hope.
And see some bullpen action for you down there, too, with Tristan Malasaw down the line is warming up. What was the strategy? What did you talk about pitching-wise before the game?
Yeah, basically, we know this team's got some speed and they got power. Honestly, we expect some runs to be scored here on both sides. So it's really just keep your mind right, keep your attitude right, and it's not over till the last out in the seventh inning. So.
How many pitchers would you have available in this game if it had to get deep?
We have 3.
3.
Yep.
Feel pretty good about where you're at with arms?
Absolutely.
Yep. So interesting how much of a mirror image this game is so far. First inning, their leadoff batter singled and scored, and then your bottom of the first. Or I'm sorry, flipped it over. Yours did that, and then theirs did the same thing, singled and scored. Now in the third inning, bottom of the order grounds out to third base, and then the top of the order gets walked for both teams. Here's productive out, a ground out to shortstop's going to move Alyssa Barrera onto second base. Good play to retire the speedy Nicole Bates, and 2 away. Yeah, we're having deja vu here with
Absolutely.
the way these innings are unfolding. So now 3-hole, Christina Inouye, who flew out to center field her first time up. She's got a 2-out RBI opportunity. The sudden impact cashed one of those in the first with Brittany Knoll-Camper singling with 2 down, knocking in Aubrey Leach. Can the Firecrackers get a 2-out RBI to tie the game back up? Strike 1 to Christina Inouye. Talking with Tim Dutton of Sudden Impact out of Texas. And you've been here a lot every year, it's a little different, but any memories this week of this trip, anything really stick out in your mind?
This has been it's been a good tournament for us. We've exercised some demons in this tournament. We've come through some teams that have stopped us in the past and faced up with them again this year and was able to beat them. And so it's just been a fun time for the girls on that.
Wild pitch sends Alyssa Barrera to third base, now just 60 feet away from tying the game. Christina Inouye cashes her in immediately. That ball would have scored her from second as well. Inouye's thinking 2, has to pull up. Throw was a little offline, but Inouye had already stopped her move toward second base. A 2-out RBI, just like Knoll-Camper did in the first for Sudden Impact. Now Inouye does that job for the Firecrackers, tying the game at 2-2. Scoring is Alyssa Barrera. What's your emotion when you watch that double in the gap right there?
Yeah, it's tough. We know this is a good hitting team, and so it's hard to hold them all down, and you just do your best. And we got a lot of confidence in our offense, and it's just like I said, it's a 7-inning game. We know that, so the real key for these girls are just to play solid every play and see where we stand when it gets to the end.
And that run just tied it back up. The nice thing is you had the lead, so at least you're
Absolutely.
not playing from underneath the deck here.
Absolutely.
2-2, 2 outs. Bottom of the third, 7-inning ball game. Championship of the Super 64 18-year-old bracket in Colorado. Thad Anderson talking with Tim Dutton of Sudden Impact Gold Dutton. We'll talk to the Firecrackers a little later on. We'll have a rep from their side join us. So equal play. It's it's campaign season. We know.
That's
so we
right.
Got to balance it out, even though it's the internet. So on Wednesday night, we had a chance to see Aubrey Leach, Amber Surratt, and this pitcher, Shelby McGlawn. There's a ground ball to first base. That will end the bottom of the third. We're tied at 2. We'll keep you here for just a minute if you have time to.
Absolutely.
All-American game on Wednesday night. You had 3 players on that televised game, CBS Sports Network. What were their comments about being part of that?
They were really excited about that. They were scheduled to be in it last year, and just because of some scheduling issues, it overlapped with some of our pool play. And so they actually pulled out and opted to play with their team in pool play versus playing in that game. So we were real excited that they got the opportunity to play in it again this year. And we felt like Aubrey knocked in the first run of that game and felt like they really represented us well. And we were real excited for them.
Yeah, I did that game on CBS Sports Network with Amanda Scarborough and Amanda Freed. And every year we have such a blast doing that game. Looking, there were 60 players in the game. You got kids
Yes.
going to everything from small schools, which is fantastic,
Yep.
and you got the big day. You got everything happening. And I think the social experience in the dugout has to be pretty mind-blowing for the players.
yes.
It's 30 people from everywhere.
Absolutely. They were real excited. Some of them had girls in their dugout for the same schools that they were committed to, so that was a lot of fun for them. And, it was just a great experience for them.
Good. Anything else, sudden impact out of Texas? Anything else we should know?
No, I mean, it's hey, these girls have a lot of fight. They enjoy the game. It's definitely the best group of kids. I've been doing this for 20 years. Probably the best team chemistry we've ever had, and they just love each other. They fight, they play for each other, and good parents, good kids, a lot of fun.
That makes everything a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's Tim Dutton with the sudden impact out of Texas. One, congratulations on your highest finish ever at Fireworks.
Thank
Two,
you.
why don't you go ahead and win it all?
Hey, we love it. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you,
Thanks
Tim.
for having us.
You bet. So we'll do him in the bottom if you want to jump back on for a minute. Starting off the top of the fourth inning and in the batter's box is Shelby McGlawn. She fouled one off, either hit or nearly hit our first base camera over there. All of our cameras are robotic, so there's no human to be damaged, but there's a lot of technology. Probably rather just have Elliott go run that. And so if somebody has to get hit, let's just have Elliott get hit by a foul ball. Oh, Elliott, you're back. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming back.
You know how that works, Dad. The ball always finds the ugliest guy in the stands, and I've gotten hit in a lot.
You want us to avoid showing any shots of the booth over here? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, you know, the beautiful thing about doing internet broadcasts like this is with a face for radio, I'm safe.
Yeah. So you might as well be part of the witness protection program. We're never going to see you.
Nope.
Well, we talked to Tim Dutton. He seems all right, huh?
Awesome guy. Awesome guy.
I know you've spent a little more time with him than I have, but appreciate him taking the time in game to come over and talk to us. McGlawn is a ground out to start the top of the fourth inning. Defense is relatively solid. We had a couple of misplays earlier, but for the most part, defenses are on point here in the championship. Nicole Bates makes the play at shortstop again. A lot of balls to the number 6 defensive position in this game. And that brings Lexi Huffman to the plate.
Lexi headed to Purdue. Be a Boilermaker.
And she turns off of an up and in pitch, just missed her. Going to Purdue, you know, there absolutely is the factor of boats rising with you know, one team pulling a conference, Michigan getting back to where they're at consistently and raising, you know, making the noise they're making. You got to figure the Big Ten is in position as the arms race in softball continues to build. The Big Ten is not going to walk away from that.
No, the challenge always, Thad, like you mentioned earlier, is the facility, you know, competition, to get the best coaches, and along with that is you need to get the best players.
This kid, Lexi Huffman, tells us she can bench press 205.
That's a scary thought, isn't it?
She could almost get you.
Almost.
Played boys baseball for 3 years. Out of Waller, Texas, Lexi Huffman, nicknamed Big Puma. Love the stuff these players tell us about themselves when we ask them to jot down a few notes. It's always they really personalize. You know, you watch them on the game and they're on the field and they're fundamentally sound, they're mechanically sound, they're disciplined and poised. But it's always great when you get a chance to sit down with them and let them be themselves.
They're just kids.
Yeah, laughing and goofing and
Just kids playing ball.
we've got more stuff on these bio sheets that they probably are going to regret writing down. Some, you know, within a year or two, they're going to think, I actually wrote that down. Nothing bad, just stuff that they might.
Especially if we mention it on the internet, it never goes away.
That's right. This is forever. Lexi Huffman swings, misses, and she's in a 3-2 count now with one out. Huffman's favorite fast pitch player, Lauren Chamberlain. I had a chance to do the Oklahoma regional coverage, ESPN, with Texas A&M in town, and Central Arkansas was there, and Lehigh. Saw Lauren Chamberlain hit one out. One of her record, 95 that she ended up with.
Doesn't take many visits to the ballpark to see her hit one out.
Yeah, and then you got, I don't think it was lost necessarily, but I felt like Shelby Penley, you know, it's unfortunate for Shelby that she did that at the time she did. Now, Shelby didn't seem at all bummed about it. She was thrilled, but her numbers were ridiculously phenomenal. Just, 7 or 8 behind Chamberlain
Not
for
far.
career home runs.
And Chamberlain, an ex-Firecracker.
Yep, played for the team in white. So
that
this
might
player
have a
is in
chance.
one deep. her favorite player played for the team she's playing against. Over the fence goes
Okay.
Horeshko. Not enough. Long ball. Bench press 205 and hit one. What's that, 230 out there as she hit it?
A little more than 205.
Yep, got a little more than that. Huffman goes deep and back on top. Sudden impact goal. They led 1-0, then got tied 1-1. They led 2-1, then got tied 2-2. Now they lead again 3-2 on Huffman's home run.
Now, I would call that a Colorado home run right there.
Just got to use what you're given there. Huffman does the job on a full count pitch. After grounding out 3-1-3 her first time up, hit the ball off the first baseman's foot, back to the circle, back to the first baseman. Huffman gets a little more satisfaction off of that swing. Cheyenne Kavanaugh, center fielder. Saw out there in center field for the Firecrackers. Alyssa Horeshko went crashing over the fence. These fences are, I like these. They have a lot of forgiveness for players to go ahead and play aggressively.
Well, we know these girls will go out and, jump, into the fence when we don't want them getting hurt.
That ball's fisted foul.
And good job by the city of Aurora. They just replaced all these, so these are brand new fence system. Go up and down real quick, and really good for the girls to be able to run through the fence without injury.
Cheyenne Kavanaugh grounded back to pitcher her first time up. She's in with a 1-out 0-2 count. Chops this. Shortstop gonna have to hurry. Little bobble's gonna be damaging. Cheyenne Kavanaugh on base, so with 1 out and already 1 in, a runner aboard for sudden impact. And now the batter, Haley Davis, popped out to second base her first time up. Here comes the first pitch to start off Davis's at-bat. Courtney Shaw still working the circle. Pitch to throw on is going to be just late. Rocket behind the plate from Iacopo. We've seen both catchers, Davis, who's batting now, and Iacopo snapping off throws. I like the between innings Iacopo throws down from her knees to show off, and she brings it.
She's got a hose, that I'm telling you.
It's loud even from over here. That ball's drifting foul. Good running effort. Thought she might close on that. Pretty good break on it from Aaliyah Flores. It's going to drop foul. You talk about Aurora. You mentioned the fencing, but bigger picture than that. I know I've talked to Beth Yacono a little bit out here. Does a fantastic job, but how about the work that your facility partners do?
Thad, we couldn't ask for a better facility partner out here. I mean, they got the fields in great shape. It rained the other night, and a lot of people doubted us, and we were back playing, in an hour?
And
But
that
beautiful.
was a storm, too. Wasn't messing around.
That was a no-doubter. But a beautiful facility here, and the great thing about Aurora is they have a lot of pride in their facility. And, we couldn't do this without them.
12 fields here at Aurora Sports Park. What an ideal tournament arrangement. 3 pods of 4.
Perfect.
Plenty of parking, usually, not when you guys come to town, because you bring... In fact, Beth told me earlier today that Thursday night when we had the televised game going on, the NPF game going on right behind us here, she thinks that was the biggest crowd ever in the history of this park that is assembled.
That's they estimated somewhere in the 11,000 people.
This ball's leaned back on, and one hops the fence. Good play by Horeshko. That's a sweet shot to center. Big blast by Davis. Credit her, but also credit Horeshko. That's another time, Elliot, that looked off the bat like likely to score a runner, but quick play in keeps the run from scoring.
Yeah, turn that around real quick. Looks like a little trouble here for the Firecrackers.
Davis doubles behind the single by Cheyenne Kavanaugh. And it's scheduled to be Maddie Emsweiler. We got a runner popping out at second base out of the dugout. That's Taylor McHenry running. McHenry runs for Davis, who's the catcher. So that should be that's a courtesy situation, correct?
Yes. And Coach Rico into the circle. Wonder kind of words of wisdom he's got for his pitcher right now.
Tony Rico's working it out there.
I believe his pitcher's headed to Cal, Thad.
Yep, and he told me they were going to go ahead and start Courtney Shaw. He said she hasn't had the best week here in Colorado. She's not been as good as she's capable of being, but he said that to me between games. He said she's going to Cal. bigger than this game. We got to get her. We got to help her. We got to work her through it.
Well, and
Give
they're
her
very
the ball and challenge her here.
they're very good at developing their kids in these situations. A television camera and a big game championship, and I think that's the responsibility they have to the college coaches to get them ready.
And doing that, and they still, what'd you say, 7 in a row before last year, 6 in a row, 7 in a row? They've won this thing?
They've won 6 of the last 7, I believe.
Yeah, and do that while sticking with the developmental plan. Slap over the head of the third baseman, going to have to freeze the runner. That'll be an infield single, well placed by Maddie Emsweiler. Bases are loaded. Kavanaugh at third. The courtesy runner, McHenry at second. And now at first base, Emsweiler, and that takes us back around to the top of the order. Aubrey Leach has been on base both times she's come up. Single and scored, a walk and scored so far today for Aubrey Leach, playing second base for Sudden Impact. Snap to third, diving back. Sudden Impact staying alert on the bases. They know that Iacopo can throw it, and they know the Firecrackers. That's one of the impressive things. I've been out and attended a practice in Huntington Beach with the Firecrackers and just watching, as I'm sure the Sudden Impact, I haven't been to one of theirs, but the fundamental level of practice and just working on every little aspect of defense.
A lot of situational practice, and no fear to take and go ahead and make that throw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of teams, you do that and 2-run score. Chuck that down the third baseline.
We've seen that quite a few times this week, Pat.
Less likely to see it here in this matchup of the final 2 standing of a 64-team bracket, hence the name Super 64. Congratulations to Sudden Impact of Texas and Firecrackers of California on reaching this point. Courtney Shaw's in a jam. The pitcher, she's got 1 out and bases full of Sudden Impact runners. Key at bat here for Aubrey Leach. Chance to, for the first time in the game, either team to take a lead by more than 1 run. Firecrackers haven't led here yet. They've been tied a couple of times. Sudden Impact keeps playing just a nose ahead of the Firecrackers. They could stick a whole head and shoulders out here with something big off the bat of Aubrey Leach.
There's going to be a lot of movement going on right now. That infield's awful crowded.
1 less runner than defenders out there around the base paths. Base is full. Shaw steps back. So it's some 10-on-10 violence here. Shaw wearing 10, Leach wearing 10. One of these 10s is going to make a big play on this at-bat. And it's going to be Aubrey Leach dropping one into center field. Throw comes to the plate. That's a force out. Al had a shot at it, but offline just a bit, and the run comes across. 2 in the inning as Kavanaugh scores. It's 4-2. Sudden Impact Gold on the single. The second hit and third time on base today for Aubrey Leach, her first RBI. Now a hitter, Kendall Murray, who's the 2018 grad who doubled her last time up. She will be replaced by a pinch hitter, and that's going to be Courtney Taylor.
Courtney headed to KU.
Rock chalk it out. I was watching the bracket during the course of the week, Elliot, and from what I recall, I don't remember the Firecrackers losing a game.
I believe they lost an early matchup pool game that didn't really affect the outcome of the seedings.
How about Sudden Impact? What do you got on them? You remember their path?
I don't think they've lost a game. Matter of fact, I know for sure that in the 7 years, the Firecrackers have only lost 3 games in the tournament in 7 years.
Wow.
I believe the Sudden Impact is undefeated at this point.
So it'll be an abnormal sensation for one of these teams to take second place when this game concludes. Both teams accustomed to winning, loaded with talent. Courtney Taylor steps out. She's pinch hitting here, just came in off the bench, getting herself loose, making sure she's ready to go. 2016 grad, headed to Kansas, Courtney Taylor takes that pitch. 1-1 count. Courtney once ate 13 donuts in 15 minutes, she's proud of. But most importantly, Courtney made a significant point with me when we were meeting before this game to just kind of talk through things. She was her number one, if she's her own agent, her number one storyline. The pitch comes right across the kneecaps, 2-1 count. In middle school in Houston, Courtney went to Pershing Middle School. Pershing is the Pershing Pandas, and Courtney was the mascot. So she wanted me to be sure that I said during this webcast, I am the panda. Panda, panda, grr. Like a growl. That's what she wanted said. It's done now.
It's been said.
It's done. There you go, Courtney. And she said her nickname is Penny Panda. She proudly wore the mascot uniform at Pershing Middle School in Houston.
Once again, one of those tidbits of information she wishes she hadn't told you.
Well, she also wants to be a field research analyst in marine biology, so she's from panda to marine biology analyst. That's a pretty cool path.
Panda to Nemo.
And Taylor, Courtney fouled that off, and she was had a little interesting gimp. She's got a brace on her right ankle. And was kind of prancing around on that a little bit. Not very well. Maybe a little bit panda style, I suppose.
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, maybe she was just conjuring her inner panda. Looking at a full count, 4-2 the score. Sudden impact on top. Chopped foul off the end of the bat. Big smile on the face of Courtney Taylor.
Just barely saved that changeup.
Courtney likes to hunt, fish, and work out. Keeps it simple. Asked her why she plays fast pitch. She said, I'm bad at everything else other than mascotting. Mascotting and fast pitch are two things.
Well,
and swinging the bat. That's a gapper. Extra bases for Courtney Taylor. What an at-bat. She's going to knock in the runs and end up on second base. 2 RBI, make it a 3 RBI base clearing double for the pinch hitter, Courtney Taylor. After a long at-bat, some foul balls, fought her way through it, and she blows that scoreboard strongly in the favor of sudden impact.
Looks like Coach knew what he was doing when he put her in there, huh?
Wow. What a great appearance by Courtney Taylor. Pitching change for the Firecrackers. 5 runs in the inning. And the pitching change for the Firecrackers. They bring in Melanie Olmos to the circle. Well, only because it's available as information. Worth noting that again on Wednesday night, televised game over at Christopher Fields against Texas Glory, number 5 ranked team in the U.S. Club rankings. Firecrackers ranked number 3. Glory led that game 8-2, and it wound up 14-9 Firecrackers. Sometimes, sleeping giant or hornet's nest, whatever you want to call it, but Firecrackers often respond to this. Credit the sudden impact for what they're doing here. They're up 7-2, but the Firecrackers unlikely to be done at this point, given their history.
I would say it's an uneasy 7-2 lead right now in the sudden impact dugout.
Yep, feeling good though, man. 5-run inning. They got 1 in the first, 1 in the third, and now 5 here in the fourth. Sudden impact all over Firecrackers midway through this game.
And still just 1 out.
Courtney Taylor, the most productive hit in terms of the scoreboard in this game, and that's in a pinch hitting opportunity. Now she is replaced by a runner. That's a re-entry by Kendall Murray. So Murray gave away her batting spot to Courtney Taylor, who doubled and knocked in 3. And then Kendall takes back over at second base as the runner. And Amber Surrett, who's got Colorado and anywhere else long ball power, bunts. Throw is gone, and that'll score the run. Firecrackers defense caught off guard by the 3-hole bunt. They throw it away. Scores a single for Surrett, and then a move up on the air, another run in, 8-2 sudden impact.
I think that was designed as a squeeze. That they were willing to give up that hitter.
Yeah, sacrifice option, although Surratt got it down pretty quick. I mean, she shortened up quickly there, kind of a last-minute show on it, and probably thinking back on that, I think the throw probably had her if they got it there online, but it's that element of surprise that
I had to rush it.
threw things off. There's a ball to center that is, again, played nicely in center field by Horeshko. Runners will be on the corners, and the beat goes on. The bats unloading here. Noel Camper with her second single of the game. 2 for 3 now with that single, moving Surratt over to third base, and here's Shelby McGlon.
Probably have to bring the infield in here, Thad. Try to control the damage.
Corners are up, and yep, shortstop now creeping in. Everybody's up inside the base paths. First and third situation, 8-2 score. McGlon, who has a flyout and a ground out in the game, 0 for 2. Batting with Lexi Huffman due up next. McGlon started this inning, what seems like 45 minutes ago. Been hitting for a while. McGlon started the inning with a ground out. So the Firecrackers got the first out of the fourth inning. The first batter retired. And they have not gotten an out since then. Might get 2. Nope, going to have to check the runner at third. So no double play opportunity with the infield in. McGlon is out at first. And Noel Camper moves down to second base. Runners at second and third, 2 away. Second 6-3 ground out of the inning for Shelby McGlon. And this batter started the whole mess, if you're a Firecrackers fan. Lexi Huffman, a solo long ball. Hit one out already in this inning. How often do you get a hit 2 out in an inning? Huffman's got a chance here. Strike delivered. If I'm Lexi Huffman, that's all I'm thinking about right now is long ball. Because I want 2 in an inning. That's just something you can tell stories about forever. But her favorite fast pitch memory, hitting 2 home runs in the same game, Lexi told us. I don't think that was in the same inning.
Well, so try to up that by 1.
Yep, so she'll have to come back up and refill out her bio sheet.
That
hit it well.
might have got it. Well, Thad, great call. 2 in an inning.
Well, we're going to have to ask her. Best memory before that was 2 in the same game. Now Lexi Huffman has 2 in an inning. And that was just to stick out the barrel and
one-hander.
See you later. To a very similar spot that her first one went out in this same inning. And another long ball from Huffman brings in 3 runs. That's 4 RBI in the inning for Lexi and 2 long balls. I guess she can bench 205. That was just a wrist flick and gone.
Well, Thad, the strength of these young girls and the equipment and the altitude, we thought we'd see some fireworks.
And we are. Wow, 11-2. Sudden impact has gone nuts. This inning started 2-2.
And I think it started yesterday.
It did. Cheyenne Kavanaugh. I'll credit Melanie Olmos for coming right back with a great pitch to start the count. That ball's rolled to short. Safe at first base, hustling down the line. Cheyenne Kavanaugh, her second single of the inning. She's 2 for 3 in the game, 2 for 2 in this inning. Are they able to add 7 on front of that? If they can fit it.
That I saw, she's headed to Belmont, Cheyenne, and I saw her coach out here actually earlier today, just letting her know he's here, watching her and supporting her. So he's got to be pretty happy about one of his incoming recruits.
Yeah, that's by no means a hidden trick of the trade, but that's a great move by the coach. The deal's done. We're already committed. We're still not courting you, but just to show you that, hey, we're ready to welcome you into the fold. We're excited to have you.
Show you the love.
We're still tracking you. We pay attention to you. That's one of those finer points that any coach who's just getting started out. Recruiting's tough. I mean, there's always somewhere else to be, somewhere else to go, but taking that extra minute to talk to those who've made that commitment to you, a big deal. This ball to center is finally going to wrap up the top of the fourth, and Tony Rico stepped out of the dugout and said, come here, got everybody in quickly, it's time to chat. That was a 9-run explosion highlighted by 2 home runs from Lexi Huffman. She hit a solo and a 3-run shot in the inning, and it's 11-2, sudden impact to the bottom of the fourth.
All right.
Gatorade knows every victory starts from within. Within is the determination to come up big when it matters most. It also takes training and fuel. Win from within. The Triple Crown Sparkler and Fireworks are fueled by Gatorade. And I just finished up a lemon lime Gatorade, and I can vouch for it. That's tasty. That was good stuff. We're going to the bottom of the fourth inning. 11-2 is our score. Maybe not the happiest time to welcome in Don Menard. Don, thanks for being with us from the Firecrackers. The president of the organization, as Tony Rico tells us. You just had to suffer through sitting here waiting a 9-run inning. What did you see there? Just some sticks from sudden impact?
Well, they certainly did a good job with the sticks. I think that our pitchers didn't hit their spots very well, but that doesn't matter. That team hit the ball well. You can put a tee out there, and I don't think you'd hit that well most of the time.
Yeah.
So that's a great job by him.
Yeah, that's a very abnormal half inning for you and your group to watch. But now,
it is.
What do you think Tony Rico just said to the group when they came in from defense right there? What do you imagine they talked about?
I just think that he talked about, be professional. We want our kids to be professional. We don't try to get too high emotionally, and we don't try to get too low when things go wrong. You want to play like a professional. Your body language and your facial expression should never, on the field, should never indicate whether you're winning or losing.
And that's a fantastic approach, and sometimes hard to accomplish with young players, but you guys do a great job with that. And I've watched your team a lot, and I would say, and I've seen a few moments of adversity for your team, and generally what I've seen is players who seem to embrace that teaching, and you probably feel the same way. Your players probably handle highs, lows well, in your opinion.
Absolutely, and the reason for that is that we have great kids that are extremely coachable. There isn't one player in this team that isn't coachable and that doesn't want to be coached.
Anna Kufta probably did exactly what Coach Rico and the rest of the leadership staff for Firecrackers asked, and that was hit something hard down and get on base. Kufta did that, got on first, and now Bree Tautalafua walked her first time up. Snap to first is going to be behind Kufta getting back to the bag. Tautalafua with a 1-2 count, nobody out, and a runner aboard. Firecrackers need a bunch, but I'd imagine you'd probably be happy with 2 or 3 this inning, right? Just start chipping away is the right approach, I would imagine.
Right. The right approach here is really, we need a lot of base runners. So the right approach is up for pitch selection. Look for pitch right down the middle. Until you have 2 strikes on you, look for a pitch down the middle, and be very patient.
Tautalafua has a 2-2 count. Pops that. Kufta back just in time. Shallow pop out at second base, retreating and pulling down the out, just making sure. Yep, that's still Aubrey Leach over at second base. So Tautalafua pop out, 1 out. Kufta still on first, and it's Aaliyah Flores batting now for the Firecrackers. Aaliyah, a 2017 grad, about to start her junior year, one of your younger players on your roster. What can you tell us about Aaliyah?
Well, Aaliyah's going to be a great ball player. She's got all of the gifts physically to be a great ball player, and she just has not learned the patience of the game yet and the mental part of the game yet. But when she does, she's going to be a tremendous ball player.
Has a verbal commitment to Oklahoma, joining Patty Gasso in a couple of years. That's no small opportunity.
Nope, and I'll tell you what, Patty doesn't make very many mistakes either.
That's
She's
right.
a very good recruiter.
That's true. Sister Destiny, who's now 26 years old, and Destiny was the first in the family to receive scholarship for softball, student athlete, influenced both the younger sisters to do the same. And this batter here, Aaliyah Flores, said, "My sister's a great role model, Destiny." And here, a big swing. That ball's deep and caught up above the center field fence. What a shot by Aaliyah Flores. It's a long out, retreating his Kufta, 2 down. Talking with Don Menard of the Firecrackers. I'm Thad Anderson. Thanks for being with us on WatchTCS.com. It's the last day of the fireworks and sparkler tournaments in Colorado. You've been here a bunch. Don,
Yes,
and
a long
every
time.
year's got something. What this year? Anything you'll take away, remember, little moments that are going to stick in your head for the long term?
Well, yeah, there is, and most of it doesn't have to do with softball. It's coming here. I love the beauty of the place. I think that this sports park is one of the best in America, and I see hundreds of my old friends here, and that's what I'll remember most.
Yeah, that's there's so much more that goes on around the park. It's outside the game a lot of times that you get the things that really
Absolutely,
are the most
absolutely.
meaningful to you. Uh, your perspective, I guess, before we let you get back to the dugout. We appreciate you taking some time during the game here to come in.
Oh,
You
it's
guys,
my pleasure.
you need to go score. You're going to score 10 in the next couple. I know
Well, let's hope so.
It's going to, it's not much oxygen here. You're going to get
Right.
a little low on air. But before you go, you've been around the game a long time. What are some of the things you're seeing in the game right now that I guess I'll ask you both ways. What do you love about what's happening with the game? Is there anything that you're concerned about with the game?
The things I love about the game right now are I think the athletes get better all of the time. I think the coaching has been getting better over the years. The concern is, I think, what everybody would say the concern is, and that is pitching. And I kind of think that we're not getting the pool of pitchers that we should be getting. And when you have kids drop out of that pool at an early age, far fewer in the pool, so far fewer good pitchers. And we have to find a way to correct that and make sure that the people that could become good pitchers don't drop out early. And I think that's happening.
Does that tend to be they move to different positions or they leave the game?
Some of it is they leave the game, but I think part of it is that I think that 14 under, this is my personal opinion, I believe that 14 under should be back at 40 feet. And I believe that 12 and under should be back where it was at 35 feet. Because it discourages kids when they come up and they get plastered before they really know how to pitch and how to find locations, and they drop out. They say, "Oh, this pitching isn't for me," and we lose that potential pool of pitchers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those are good insights. That's Don Menard with the Firecrackers, and we appreciate you taking the time. Thanks again for doing what you do. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Nailed it. As Don Menard moves back toward the Firecrackers dugout with his group down 11-2. We talked to Tim Dutton earlier when his team was in a tie game, and then he left and his team went off. Now as Don Menard heads back the other way, he's going to have to see his team play defense first. It's Maddie Emsweiler. Madison in the box to get the top of the fifth going. Fouls it away. She's got a 2-2 count. And from one legend, Don Menard, to another, Allison Morgenstern. Legend, fair enough, right?
Not at all. I actually played for Don, though.
I planned that.
I bet you did.
6 degrees of Don Menard.
Absolutely. He knows everybody.
Allison Morgenstern, director with Triple Crown Fast Pitch Softball. She's been out here pounding the pavement and keeping everybody moving in the right direction, including our television crew, helping us with a little bit of everything from hotel rooms to food to don't drive the 53-foot, 16-ton television truck over my foot. Thank you for everything you did this week, Allison. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. We love having you guys out here.
Popped near the fence, but a little bit of room and just enough room for Anna Kufta to glove out number one of the top of the fifth inning. I was tied up, but you were around during that big inning for sudden impact, right?
Yeah.
What did you see? What did you think about that inning?
Well, I mean, it just looks like Sudden Impact is putting a really solid bat on the ball, and with this, Colorado air, it's a little cool today. I mean, 2 home runs in 1 inning by 1 girl. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. That's just a big inning, and the thing is, the Firecrackers are very capable of doing the same thing.
Yeah, we talked about that briefly when the Firecrackers were going to come to bat after that they were down 8-2 in the television game the other day. When it was 7-2, I made a comment, and Elliot said that's probably a nervous 7-2 lead right now, but then they tacked on 4 more and made it 11-2. Foul ball from the top of the order. Aubrey Leach. Leach is 2 for 2 today with 3 runs scored. The only time she didn't get a hit, she got a walk. She also has an RBI. Leach has been pivotal at the top of the order. The 11-2 tally fifth inning. Firecrackers the home team, so they've got 3 more chances to swing it. But to this point, Shelby McGlawn, the pitcher for Sudden Impact, and they've got a couple of more behind her. Yeah, Sudden Impact is lined up very nicely here. 11-2 would normally look like you would say that anyway, but knowing it's Firecrackers, you'd be concerned. But seeing what the Sudden Impact has available from the circle, they're in pretty good shape to if they have to piece it together and milk it out.
Absolutely, and the comeback earlier this week was on Wednesday. A few days into the tournament. I mean, this is Sunday. This is 4 days later. So, the heat takes its toll. The weather takes its toll. The amount of games that you're playing. So hopefully, they can make a good game out of it and a good run. And, Sudden Impact is just playing very, very well right now.
Chopper to second base, played by Christina Inouye, and that's the first time Aubrey Leach has come to the plate and not reached base. I don't say that as a dig on Aubrey. I say that as a nice day. She's 2 for 3 now with a walk added in there and 3 runs scored. Kendall Murray, the rising sophomore in high school, a 2018 grad who has a double in the game. She was pinch hit for last time by Courtney Taylor, who doubled, and then Kendall re-entered to run after the double, so she's back in her batting spot. Melanie Olmos continues with pitching duties. And it looks like it's still Mary Iacopo behind the plate for the Firecrackers. That ball fouled weakly back toward the screen. So we talked, Allison, a little bit with Elliot about images, and maybe it's too fresh, but I'm curious, you've been out here with teams parading by and thousands and thousands of pitches thrown and lots of hot dogs eaten, but there's a 1-1 pitch coming. That's off speed, missed the zone, 2-1 count. Is there anything already that you'll kind of take away or remember from this particular year's experience here at Aurora Sports Park?
We had a lot of new things going on with this tournament. We had the NPF out. We had some great TV games, just competitive down to the wire type of games. So just a lot of fun. It all kind of blends together at times, but for the most part, I think just kind of adding something new every year. So even the teams that have come for the last 10 years in a row have something new.
Yeah, television games, that 14-year-old game every year, it's the Futures Championship game. It's on CBS Sports Network, and every year we do that. That game, other games are great. I will go ahead and say that's the best game we do every year, just as far as talent level, competitive battle, tight score. That one never disappoints.
Absolutely not. And last year it was a bottom of the 7th win because it was a tie game. This year, another just kind of great thrill. Everybody walking by that field, they see the girls, they see the talent, they even see the size of the girls, and those are 14-year-olds.
Yeah, we try, it's on CBS Sports Network. We try to say every inning or so, you're watching 14-year-old Futures Championship because it's so easy to forget. They look, I don't know, 18's the right term, but they don't look 14.
Absolutely not. They're all tall and athletic.
Right, you say that in terms of size, but you say that in terms of execution and fundamentals, too. You watch that doesn't look like 14-year-old fundamental ball. No discredit to 14-year-old fundamental ball.
Correct. Those competitive teams, they put in a lot of time on the field, just as much as the 16s and 18s, and, their skills look just as sharp.
Well, you talk about the exciting finish to that 14-year-old Futures game. It was 2-1. The Sun Cats were up on the SoCal Athletics Tio Mercado. Tio Mercado's team, they're batting down 2-1, top of the 7th, kid on third, fly ball to center, going to tag to tie it. It was a catch in center and a throw out at the plate that ended the game. Bang, bang, it's either tied or over.
Yep.
And Caitlin Anderson, the center fielder for Sun Cats, made a dart of a throw. And, wow, what a cool way to end the game. Walk-offs are fun, but a hose from center field is a pretty cool way to go out, too.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where when it comes down to what if this happens and what if this happens, and one of them's a walk-off and the other one's a great play at the plate, just both equally good. And the Sun Cats actually completed a sweep that day with the 14s and the 16s win on TV. So I'm sure their organization's flying high right now.
Yeah, they only have 2 teams in the organization. They have a 14-year-old team and a 16-year-old team, and they both won the power pools, the televised games. Liner to first is going to end the top of the 5th. It was a walk to Murray and then a rocket from Surrett. right into the glove of Kelly Martinez at first base. So after the 9-run outburst in the 5th inning, it's nothing in the 6th for Sudden Impact. And I just looked up the scoreboard, which said 6th inning. Correct that, it's the 5th. So that was the 4th inning that all the runs went on the board. And then in the 5th, nothing up for Sudden Impact. And now it'll be the bottom of 5 for the Firecrackers, trailing 11-2. Check out softballmag.com. If you love softball, you'll want Softball Magazine. Hard-hitting editorials, tips and columns from the sport's top players and coaches. New product features, player and team spotlight. Softball Magazine, America's source for softball news at softballmag.com. So I'm looking here at my empty Gatorade bottle. I'm wondering about another one. How about all the Gatorade that floats around this place?
Oh my gosh, we earlier last week we actually unloaded 20,000 pounds of Gatorade and water for this week, and we have exactly 0 left.
20,000 pounds?
20,000 pounds.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to carry the 4. That's 10 tons, right?
10 tons. There was 3 of us, and we had a good workout that
3 of you
day.
unloaded the 10 tons of liquid. That
Absolutely.
was water and Gatorade.
Liquid, powder, bars, everything.
Did you say there's none left?
Almost none left. There's a couple
I
cases
think there
here
might
and
be
there.
one. I hope there's one, because
There
I'm
might be one.
going to lobby for one more just to bring it down the home stretch. Coming down the second half of this championship game in the 18 and under Super 64 at the Triple Crown Fireworks and Sparkler. It's Alyssa Horeshko starting off the bottom of 5. Horeshko grounded to third base her first time up. Speedy Horeshko plays center field. She's going to pop this behind third, ranging over from shortstop. Making the play is Amber Surrett, keeping the speed of Horeshko off base. And it's back to the top of the order now. Alyssa Barrera. Barrera batting for the Firecrackers. So just scanning back through the various events, Olympic and pro player clinics, unsigned senior JUCO player combine, all-star showcase, package deal clinics, all academic showcase, testing and measurement, opportunity showcase, academic games, University of Oregon head coach Mike White coaches clinic with special guest Tony Rico. I know we had a Champions Festival. NPF, Professional Fast Pitch, played 4 games in Colorado this week, Monday night in Greeley, Tuesday in Erie, both televised, and then Wednesday while we were televising at the same park, they were in Westminster, and then Thursday while we were televising, they were behind us here in Aurora. So I was saying the other day, that's either like, there's a ground ball, a nice play defensively, cleanly done. Barrera is out number 2. Nicole Bates now will bat. I was saying the other day about all the things that go on around here. It's either like bacon-wrapped bacon, or it's like the old Dr. Evil sharks with lasers on their heads. You kind of got everything.
Absolutely. And there's no sea bass. This is not sea bass that are angry. So, we have a little bit of everything. Kids are getting looks from the schools that they need to get looks from. Meeting up. We're almost like a dating service around here. We want to make sure that kids end up in the right place and the right situations. So that's why we offer the academic games and the opportunity games, and the all-star games in general, just so they have a chance to interact with the college coaches and find the right fit.
I know it's a long week. There's scores and scores of staff deployed out here, and at times, I'm sure from a staff perspective, just from a wear and tear, you probably wish there are times you might wish it was a little more like speed dating, but to your credit, it's not speed dating. I mean, there's plenty of time here. This is more like a long sit-down, couple meals, dating service where you really get a chance to talk to the coach. Coach gets a chance to check out the players in various settings.
Absolutely. The testing and measurement, that's a nice
Rocket
base hit
back
up the middle.
Nicole Bates, her first hit of the day, second time on base, but first time scored as a hit, using the middle with 2 outs, 1 on for Christina Inouye.
Very nice. The testing and measurement is kind of like the drinks portion of a date. You kind of get to know each other a little bit, have little appetizers. And then when it comes to the all-star games, that's when you really start talking during the dinner, during the meal and everything, and just kind of cap it off when you're done playing and that coach is still sticking around to show you a little bit of love and, hey, we were really interested in you. That's just, icing on the cake.
Way to extend the metaphor. And I'm a product of an arranged marriage, so I don't know anything about dating. I was I mean, I got a great draw. My wife's fantastic, but
Well, that's
she's
good.
probably less thrilled with the arranged marriage. But I appreciate the extra explanation of
Hey,
the breakdown of a date. It was very good.
hey, no problem.
And as Elliot and I talked about, this is the internet, so you actually did a good job of keeping that you could have said that anywhere. Nice work. Christina Inouye batting with 2 out, 1 aboard. Inouye 1 for 2 today, has a single back in the 3rd inning. And a fly out to center in the 1st. This ball hit hard, nicely done at second base. Sitting right on top of that, it is Aubrey Leach. And that is a run rule situation in the Super 64 Championship, and in stunning fashion, you'd have to say, for a team, the Firecrackers, who's won, I think Elliot told us, 6 of the last 7 tournaments. Sudden Impact. This is the highest finish they've ever had, making this game as farther than they'd ever been in the Fireworks, and they are now champions. Run rule. Sudden Impact, 11-2 with a 9-run explosion in the 4th inning, including 2 home runs by Lexi Huffman in the same inning. Champions are Sudden Impact. I'm not going to phrase my question to you, are you surprised? But I will say, for Sudden Impact, as you entered this week and the buzz about who you might see, I know the Texas Glory ranked number 5 in the rankings, deservedly so. Firecrackers ranked number 3. How about the Sudden Impact in the show they just put on?
Absolutely. I mean, anybody's beatable. I think the big key to them being so successful this week is there's an old saying that the Yankees used to win because the opponent was too busy staring at the pinstripes. And they were too nervous. I don't think that they were nervous and, just came up against every opponent just like it's playing another team. It's another day at the ballpark and did a fantastic job. And, I mean, both teams here deservedly so in this game, and Sudden Impact just, came out swinging.
Well, that is a definitive claiming of the championship at the Fireworks and Sparkler. And there's Elliot, who spent part of the game with us. He's now out handing out some hardware. Sorry, Allison, you have to be here instead of there, but
That's okay. That's okay. He is our national director of fast pitch, so
we appreciate you joining us today. We talked to Don Menard during the course of our game. We talked to Tim Dutton from Sudden Impact Gold during the course of our game. Elliot Finkelstein was with us for a chunk of this. Allison Morgenstern is closing it out with me. And now that I guess I'll say it's done. I know you've got a little more work to do, but you've got a couple games going on. Sudden Impact actually has a team in the 16 Open Championship, also right here behind us. 18 Open Championship going on. And when these last games wrap up, just tell us a little bit about kind of what happens. Y'all just run for the hills and take naps, or what goes on?
basically, we'll get back to the office, make sure all the results are correct, and everything's ready to go. Of course, we'll get the results into the U.S. Club ranking system so we can get that taken care of, and everybody can get their points for the Nationals coming up in the next couple weeks. But at the same time, I think you are absolutely correct. I plan on finding my pillow awful early today.
That team right there in yellow is going to have their ranking improve when you put in those results. Sudden Impact are champions of the Super 64, and you just mentioned it, Allison. Next up in a couple of weeks in Reno, Nevada, the TCUSA Nationals. What's the scene in Reno? What's that? How's that laid out?
Oh, the scene in Reno, it's an invitation event based on our U.S. Club rankings. We give invitations out to the top 150 teams. Depending on the venue, that one can take up to that many. We also have 16U, a tournament as well, and that's based on the 18U rankings, so they can bring along their sister organization. But very similar to the Fireworks, where you're going to see the best of the best on the field, and every time you step on the field, it's going to be a tough battle. And see who ends up on top on that one.
Championships of the 16s and 18s in Reno will be televised live on CBS Sports Network on Friday, July 17th. Friday, July 17th is the next Triple Crown television moment on CBS Sports Network. You can get that information and more at triplecrownsports.com. For Mariah Trujillo, Kyle Fino, and our entire webcast crew, including Allison Morgenstern, who's closing out with me right here, I'm Thad Anderson. For complete information on the Fireworks, Sparkler, and all Triple Crown events, visit triplecrownsports.com. The Super 64 Championship game is produced by Triple Crown Sports in association with GM28 Productions. Congratulations to the Firecrackers, another championship game appearance. But ultimate congratulations to Texas Sudden Impact Gold Dutton. They are champions of the 18 and under Super 64 at the 2015 Triple Crown Fireworks and Sparkler. Sudden Impact win this championship 11-2. Congratulations. Thank you for being with us on WatchTCS.com. Oh yeah, you're supposed to drop a quarter in the slot over here to be able. I thought you couldn't hear me unless you put some money in. Should have brought you on had y'all contribute. Roving reporters.
The broadcast, everything looked great, sounded great. So
Awesome.
He did.
yeah, not going to get my contract.
Was that like when you were on? He said that. Are you
I
kidding?
thought. I said, you must have me mistaken.
I thought
for
the
somebody.
FCC was all over
That's
it.
what I said. I thought we
got a
broke
breach
the
of the
interweb.
internet.
We broke the interweb.
Thanks.
Thanks, that was kind of fun.
No, so, yeah, no, actually.
Yeah, that's fine, but no, she can come up with a shower.
I did that one solo, but that one of the games was there was an all-star game. It's easier to do those solo because there's so many kids. I mean, it's almost harder to have analysts. You want to say something to every single kid, they get one at bat. But these in Omaha, we also